cut it in half,
Awesome.
or else I'm terrified I'm gonna break my knife because it's like cutting into a rock, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, it can be for sure. Let me minimize this, get that out of the way, full screen. All right. And for some reason, I'm at the end of the presentation. So tonight we are going to talk about hormones and how they affect your fat burning and energy. So I said here, like making sense of how your body uses hormones to manage weight and feel good. Hormones control how your body stores and burns fat. It's not just calories in, calories out. And this is something that we learn through the reverse process. So understanding them helps you to work with your body rather than fighting against it. And honestly, the goal come the end, as we know, is to feel energized, balanced, and confident in your results. So, with that said, we want to know like why do hormones matter when it comes to fat loss? So, hormones are your body's messengers for hunger. They are going to tell you when to store fat and when to use it as energy. They are, the one thing that is going to signal that, when you are stuck or when you've plateaued, if your hormones are not balanced, it can make fat loss super hard, even if you're eating well. So that was one of the things that I had said to, I think, Martina, when I first joined the program as a client, was like, I eat well. I don't eat out a lot, like there's all these things going on, but obviously I was struggling with some hormone balance, that sort of stuff. And once I started paying more attention to my macronutrients and ensuring that I was getting the proper balance there, the easier it was. And then not only this, but knowing about your hormones is going to help you or help us to build you a smarter, better plan for eating and for working out. So to help optimize that for you. Um, So, your five main hormones for fat loss and energy. There's your thyroid hormones, and this is going to control how fast your body burns calories and how it uses those calories as energy. We like to say that it sets your metabolism speed. So for those who are like, and not all, but for some who are struggling with thyroid dysfunction, you'll often hear them say, "Oh, well, my metabolism has slowed down," right? That's one of the very common phrases that you hear. Next up is your insulin. And as we know, this is going to help manage your blood sugar and tell your body when to store fat. It's again one of those things that if any of these other hormones are out of whack, it may be affected by that. Leptin is going to let your brain know when you're full and again how much energy to use, as well as your cortisol, which we know is the stress hormone, can make your body hold on to fat. So if your cortisol is high, your body's going to retain fat rather than use calories. And usually or typically it's going to gain around your midsection. So the most cortisol or a majority of the cortisol receptors, especially for women, are in and around the belly area. And that's where we gain our weight. And then estrogen is going to affect where your body stores fat and how it uses it, again, especially for women. So those are kind of the five main hormones that we're going to talk about. And we're going to start out with your thyroid. So, your body's metabolism control. This is a gland that is located in your neck. It's going to use iodine to make hormone cells called T3 and T4. And these are like the gas pedal. So, I'm using a car analogy here, right? Because we say fuel your body properly and it will function properly. So, this is your gas pedal. Um, your thyroid, when burning energy well, is going to use calories smoothly all day long, turning that food into energy that your body will then use. When it is not functioning well, or when your thyroid is slow, which is an underactive or hypothyroidism, your body's engine slows down. Instead of burning the calories, it's going to store them. And then if you are in that place where, well, we're stuck on weight loss, we've plateaued, even if you eat well and exercise, a slow thyroid can completely stop your body from losing fat and become a big hurdle. So, this is one of the things that if you've never had your T3, T4 checked, you may want to look into it. It's something that your doctor can perform for you. But often, if you've been to your doctor, because I know I was that person. I'd go to the doctor and I'd be like, listen, like I seem to continue to put on weight. I can't shed weight. That was one of the first things that my doctor checked for me was my thyroid. My thyroid was functioning properly, so obviously we had to go in a different direction. But again, all of these hormones are going to play together. So if one thing is off, it may be, although within normal range, it may be throwing it off a little bit. And with that will come some of the side effects. So again, think of your thyroid as the main switch for your metabolism. And if it is not active enough, your body is not going to burn that fat efficiently. Next up, we're going to talk about your hunger hormones. So, insulin is a hormone that stores fat, and when your insulin is high, then you are going to store more fat. Your body also can become insulin resistant, and it becomes harder to lose weight, easier to gain weight, and keeping your blood sugar stable is very key here in keeping your insulin balanced. Next up is leptin, the hormone that tells you whether or not you're full. So leptin comes from your fat cells and helps to keep you full and burn energy. With any type of leptin resistance, your brain just simply doesn't get that stop eating message or signal. And that can happen when you have high leptin levels. And this often is something that coincides with obesity, making it a vicious cycle of weight gain. So, again, for lasting fat loss, it's super important that you keep your insulin and leptin levels working together. These are two things that will pair hand in hand. We talk about it a lot, but stress. So, your stress hormone, cortisol, is released into your body and ready for action when you feel stressed. And there's so much stress in our daily lives that often we don't even perceive specific things as a stressor on our body anymore, right? It's just that fast-paced world that you're constantly getting signals, text messages, emails, this, that, the next thing. It's adding stress to your plate. What this is going to do is that if your cortisol is too high for too long, it can lead again to extra belly fat, making you want more sugary foods. All of those things will play into it. And how you are going to handle your stress is key to preventing your cortisol from causing fat gain, especially around that midsection. So, we're going to look at things like good eating habits and healthy living. To help lower the cortisol and make it easier. And this is why we stress so much about, managing your stress using tools like meditation or, logging off of devices hour to 2 hours prior to your bedtime, having a solid bedtime routine, ensuring that, you're talking to somebody, journaling, whatever it might be for you, breathing exercises. These are all things that can help to manage that stress. So, estrogen, fat, and your energy. So, why fat sticks around when your estrogen levels are off? So, typically going down, especially after the age of 30, you're going to find that there's a stubborn buildup around your belly and hips. Again, this, when paired with menopause, is often seen as a sudden weight gain. I'm going to say this sudden weight gain, but it can be, right? So, knowing how to balance your estrogen, you can naturally do this by eating well, exercising regularly, and making healthy lifestyle choices. And this will help to reduce that fat storage. For your food and hormones, these are just a few tips and tricks on what you can do to actually help balance those out. And again, if you are on plan, we've built these things into the plan, but it's something that if you are in your macro coaching phase, to keep in the back of your mind and maybe pull on it. But eat to calm your nervous system. So Mediterranean style diet, and this is where we say like Mediterranean, so think your Greek style diet is going to help with fullness, with hormone work, at your fullness hormone work better and naturally lower the cortisol levels. Giving your thyroid a boost. So getting enough iodine, selenium, and iron is going to help your thyroid to make enough hormones so that you are not experiencing that. And this all comes hand in hand with eating balanced meals, proteins and carbs, helping you with your hunger hormone, ghrelin. We're going to keep that in check by ensuring that we are never eating naked carbs, always pairing it with fats or protein. And then again, good fats. That leads right into it, right? So eating healthy fats to avoid many of those bad things that are going to, you know, signal your fullness hormone to not necessarily work in the best fashion, as well as ensuring that we're getting in those healthy fats so that we can calm down any type of inflammation that we might have. So when we say, like what is a Mediterranean style diet? What are some of the core foods? What does this look like? We're talking about olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds, fish, grain, vegetables, fruits, things that will help. And I'm looking specifically at these sections here with the iodine, selenium, and iron. You want to ensure that you're getting in seaweed, shrimp, eggs, and iodized salt to help with your iodine levels. Your selenium are things like your Brazil nuts, salmon, tuna, turkey. And then for iron, you can try some spinach, lentils, beef, chickpeas, mussels, that sort of stuff. So again, great examples of some balanced meals, salmon and quinoa with sauteed spinach, maybe a Greek salad with shrimp, and there's always the go-to of oats and Greek yogurt with berries. So that is just a few tips on that. And then when we talk about a healthy lifestyle, again, I kind of mentioned some of these, but some of the simple habits for better hormones and fat loss are going to be, getting your body moving. It's going to help your body to use sugar better, and it helps your metabolism to remain strong. When we say move your body, we want you to be mindful of your rest days, but still remain active. And then there is sleep. So sleep is super important, something that we stress on a regular basis because it's going to bring down those stress hormones and balance everything out, helping you to lose fat in the long run. Calming your mind, again, things like meditation and deep breathing are going to stop that stress hormone from shooting up. And then eating regularly. This is another one that's super important. So eating at regular times is going to help your hunger hormones to stay in check naturally. So you may or may not have had a conversation with your coach, or back when you were on meal plan, you'll have noticed that you were eating every couple of hours. Some people struggle when it comes to weekends because they just get so busy that they forget to eat, and or they eat a really large breakfast, go out the door, run their errands. They're gone for, 3 hours without another meal. They come home and all of a sudden they want to eat everything. So eating regularly, having those timed meals is super important, and ensuring that you are eating every couple of hours throughout the day. And this is the last of it. So if you are in a place where you understand your hormones, you are going to inevitably boost your fat loss, because it is more than just calories in, calories out. Like I said at the beginning, losing fat is not only about how much you eat or burn. Your hormones play a huge role in the success of this. And finding that right balance. So ensuring that the key hormones like your thyroid, insulin, leptin, cortisol, estrogen are all well balanced is going to help your body work the best. Your coach is obviously going to work with you in ensuring that your hormones are balanced and that we are, setting the foundation for that future fat loss phase. If you're already in a fat loss phase, if you're noticing some of those old habits creep in, it may be time to have a conversation with your coach. You may need a refeed or a diet break, something along that line, in order to ensure that we aren't repeating old habits and getting you back to the same state that you were in. I know Martina says, with a deficit, you can expect to experience some hunger, and absolutely you can. However, if that is something that continues to build, this is where the communication comes in with your coach. Ensure that you are having that conversation, that they are aware of what's going on, and then we will best be able to adjust things for you. And then that leads right into that last bullet of taking charge of your journey. So using smart hormone strategies. These are things like ensuring that you are getting in enough fiber, ensuring that you are getting in, all of those healthy fats, that you're doing what you need to be doing in order to make real and lasting results in that fat loss phase. So that is all that I had. Were there any questions specific to any of these hormones? What is your guys' takeaway? What do we got? Let's have a conversation.
Questions, guys? So, Aaron, so I have hypothyroidism
Mhm.
and I'm on Synthroid and have been for like at least 10, 12 years. Does that um, help with the fat loss?
Yeah, it will in the sense of it's helping to manage your thyroid hormones, right?
Mhm.
So without it, chances are that you would not be seeing as much success as you are seeing. Is it something that you're going to remain on? Probably.
Mhm.
Of course, work with your doctor to determine that. With eating healthier and having a different lifestyle, you may find that that dose might change in terms of that medication, but yeah, it for some people, absolutely. I mean, I look at myself when I tested my thyroid and I was within the normal range. I was on the lower end of that normal range, but still within the normal range for thyroid function. So they didn't end up giving me any medications. And then when I started watching my nutrition, ensuring that I was eating the proper foods, getting in that iodine so that I was producing better T3, T4, um, it went away. So I kind of staved it off. But again, there's only so much that you can do in terms of nutrition, especially if you already tested with hypothyroidism.
Yeah, so I'm tested every 6 months.
Yeah.
And